Green, green river laid out by my front door.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk About with Biff, Lucky, and Mr. Fun, the podcast where we will talk about everything. We will talk about anything. Quite frankly, we are going to talk about it all today. Rockfish leading us in again with Chesapeake time, getting to that time of the season. Anybody been on the bay yet? Lucky, you been on? You seen the bay?
I haven't
Nothing?
been there. I'm going to be down at the beach this week for the Lucky Open, but which I'm looking forward to. But it's been actually chilly around here. I don't know. Has it been chilly at the beach?
It's we get an ocean breeze, Lucky, and it does chill things down because the ocean temperatures are lower on the beach side.
Am I breathing heavy? I feel like I'm breathing heavy.
Well, we're just happy you're breathing, Mr. Fun.
I have allergies, but I can hear myself like I just ran a mile before we started this.
I'll take it out in editing.
All right,
that's what we do. But I have been. We went on a boat a couple weeks ago in the Indian River Bay, which is the bay between Bethany Beach and Rehoboth. Surprisingly shallow, Indian River Bay, like a lot of sandbars and things like that. But of note around here, which everybody, there's emails going about. I guess this is the largest horseshoe crab spawning area in the world. Is kind of the Indian River Bay, and I guess the Rehoboth Bay or whatever up by Lewis. So there's horseshoe crabs everywhere because they're out laying eggs on the beach.
Are there any
those things good for? What are those things? You can't eat that.
Medical research.
The blood from the horseshoe crabs is something really important.
Yeah.
For what?
Medical research, like developing like medicines and stuff like that.
Yeah. So they do.
What?
So,
what medicine? What do I need?
Knows? Okay.
Come on, you guys are smart.
Just believe us. But we've been told that if you find one that's upside down and you see its legs moving, you're supposed to flip it back over. And the other thing I saw, which is it's not related to a crab, it's more related to a scorpion than a crab.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
did see that.
Now, when you were out on your boat with all the crab, is there any restrictions? Like, do you have to, like?
Well, we didn't go. We were on the beach at that point, so we left from a dock. But they talk about if you see them on the beach.
I'm not going near it.
You're not going to?
They're prehistoric. They're scary.
The kayaks you've left at my house.
Can they sting you? Can they sting you? Or
no? I think they can just they're just uncomfortable to step on.
They're uncomfortable to see. I don't like them.
So we are not drinking this week. We are remote yet again. But if we were drinking, what would we be drinking?
I drank Scotty's yesterday.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah.
So excellent. And then next weekend is the Potomac Hunt Cup races, where Scotty has his display there, and we are going to make our way there. At least 2/3 of this podcast will be out there, so we're looking forward to doing that and seeing Scotty and Jen. I did see, by the way, who saw the Kentucky Derby photo of Scotty?
Good photo.
I saw a couple of them. Yeah.
What color were his pants?
White.
They were white. They were white pants. See, good company wears white pants.
Do you think he started wearing white pants because he knows it's somewhat popular among one of the three of us?
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I think I will break out the white pants next week for the Potomac Hunt Cup race.
No, if you wear white pants to the Lucky Open, you might go on the ban list.
Okay, I'll do that. No, and which this coming week is Lucky Open, so we are looking forward to that in Greater Ocean City.
You could do a little nursing in your white pants.
Yeah, exactly. So
or sell ice cream.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Since apparently you have the funny pills, Mr. Fun, do you have a joke to start us off this week?
The funny pills. Yes, I've been taking my funny pills. So there's three. There's this guy, and he goes to a bar, and he orders 3 cold beers from the bartender. Bartender puts them up, and he's fascinated by watching this guy. He takes a sip of the first one, thinks for a second, takes a sip of the second one, thinks for a second, takes a sip of the third one, thinks for a second, and that proceeds until he finishes all his beers. Bartender says, "Hey, next time you're in, I'm sure you want your beer cold. I can give you one at a time." And he says, No, you don't understand. I'm from Ireland. I wish I could do an Irish accent, but I'm from Ireland, and I'm drinking with my brothers. We chose the day that my father passed away to each have a beer together. So the first one represents drinking with my first brother and my second brother. And then for my dad, we all drink one beer together. And he says, "Oh, that's incredible." So he comes in the next year, same date, 3 beers, proceeds to do the same thing. Third year he comes in, he says, "I'll have 2 beers." So the bartender goes, "Listen, I think I've gotten to know you a little bit. I understand the tradition. I'm really sorry. Did you lose one of your brothers?" And he goes, Oh, no. I just gave up drinking.
Okay.
Very good. Very good.
That's the joke of the day.
That is the joke of the day. So,
right.
Lucky, what's going on in the world?
What's going on in the world? Well, today's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. I'm working on weaning my children off of my support for their support of their mother. I continue to do that. So, but I'm not all the way there. I think I'm on the hook for a fancy restaurant tonight as a result of like me just not, I don't know.
This is so timely. This is so timely because this week the text went out to my kids and it said, hey, remember Sunday's Mother's Day. I hope that you'll consider doing something nice for your mom. And then I thought for a minute and then I said, I will reimburse you for anything you buy and I will plan a dinner.
It's bullshit. Like, why? I mean, I've been working I think I've talked about this. I've been working for the last 10, 15 years trying to get that off my plate so that I can go celebrate my own mom,
Yeah.
And I yesterday had the opportunity. I was down in Annapolis with my mom and my dad and my brother and sister. We celebrated my mom and Carol G. of Arnold. So happy Mother's Day to her. And I hope Mrs. Lucky has a good Mother's Day today. I am going to make sure she does. So
did they plan anything, Lucky?
They're going to make some food. They were going to make breakfast today, but I think most of the planning was they're going to make breakfast for her, which is great. I don't know if they have any gifts, but they made a reservation at a nice restaurant for later today that, of course, I'll pay for. So,
well, that's good. At least they're getting there. So, and
Wait,
Mr. Fun,
how do you celebrate Father's Day? What are your expectations?
I'll probably pay for the dinner that the kids, take me to.
Father's Day is pretty simple for me. I mean, honestly, and I think we've talked about this before, and I'm not particularly unique in this regard. It's the U.S. Open golf tournament, and I would like to either play golf that day or just watch golf. And honestly, I don't care if I cook. I don't need to have anything done for me for Father's Day. I just sort of want to be able to hog the TV for several hours.
Biff's going to fast on Father's Day this year, right? He's not going to eat.
Yeah. So what about you, Mr. Full? What about Father's Day?
So it used to be huge. We used to go to what's Sesame Place when the kids were little.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that you are on a podcast with the fastest. They had these dolls and they had diapers and they gave away something like I got a T-shirt or something for putting a diaper on my kid, the fastest, my doll. So it was a heated race. I beat out 8 other guys and I had the fastest diaper. And so
were you a good diaper changer with your kids, Mr. Fun? Meaning, did you?
So let me tell you something, and to all the men out there, all the husbands, you want to screw up this thing multiple times, like diaper changing, doing the laundry, that kind of stuff, like ruin a few shirts. Then your wife will never ask you to do it again. So that was my technique. I tried the diaper a few times. I was like, I'm not very good at this. And then
you won an award. You won for the.
Well, that was almost my downfall. I was actually an expert diaper, and I was like, I hope she didn't see that.
Until you forget how to do it, then Mrs. Fun has to do it.
I said, well, okay, the baby's not moving around; it's a doll, so that's why I won. So but just a word of advice to all the new dads out there: you don't want to be great at diapering, otherwise you're done. You're done.
Yeah. The other big news, we haven't talked about this yet, but the Commanders keep progressing towards getting their downtown DC home back again on the RFK site. Big, the NFL and the city of DC and state of Maryland was also in the mix with this, but approval, and the federal government, of course, but the approval to give the land. The federal government owns the land, but gave that city of DC the permission to develop the new stadium on it, which is great. Now they're, the Commanders are going to put up most of the money, probably is roughly 2/3, but the city DC has to come up with the money, and there's a pretty big battle at the city council level of funding. I think they're looking for $800 million up to $1 billion. And there's two camps. The one camp that's saying, hey, we need this money for social services in the city, we're taking a hit from, all the federal employees who might lose their jobs, blah, blah, blah. The other ones are like, hey, we need an economic engine for the city. We need this stadium built. And by 2030 is what they're shooting for. So that's pretty cool.
Am I right? Like, it's been nothing short of a home run with the Ravens and the development of stadiums in Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't know if that's football though. It's the baseball stadium has more use, right? You've got 80 games a year. Football's got 8, right? And
you
they
guys
don't
know
do a lot of concerts.
I'm not necessarily a Raven or a Commanders fan, but from what I see on social media, going to a Ravens football game is a big deal. It's fun, and I get pictures of the food and the game and the scoreboard and and I don't see that same excitement at all for the Commanders.
Well, the current Commanders stadium was rushed to be built in PG County. They quickly exited DC at the time. The stadium is just not great. There's nothing around the stadium, so to bring it back into the city is a huge win. But again, the financial part of it is
it's going to happen though. I understand the points, and you're going to have the what you would say are the typical people that would say why it shouldn't happen, but it will happen. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind. The challenge for the city is really, to your point, Luck, is a budget issue. They've got downtown real estate values which are tanking, right, which is a big revenue generator, right, for the taxes and things like that, and people not working down there, so it's an issue. But it's the right place for a stadium. It's got a metro stop right there, right? That was, old RFK. You would go there. And they're doing it right, where I actually think, Mr. Fun, if I compare it to New York City, they're going to put a cover on this stadium, right? So they'll be able to have a Super Bowl at some point. I was always surprised that New York built all these stadiums, baseball and even Giant Stadium. They didn't put a dome on it. And they could have had Super Bowl every 5th year in New York City. The economic impact, I think, is they get a Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. You have that, and it brings all the hotel. I mean, those are longer-term plays, but I think they'll be smart if they put that dome on there because they will get a Super Bowl.
If we talked about this on the podcast a couple of months ago, remember DC stroked a big check to keep the Caps and the Wizards in town as well. So they're swimming in deep waters when it comes to stroking checks for sports. And it's going to be interesting to see. I agree. They're gonna fund it, and the city's going to fund their part of it. But the other cool thing that got announced, and I can't wait to see this, is they're going to do the NFL draft in Washington D.C. on the National Mall. I think it's
27.
27, yeah.
I think it's 27.
Yeah. So they showed some pictures of the renderings of it with the monuments in the background, and they just had it in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I think they had 250,000 people there. Can you imagine that many people on the mall watching the? Can
I tell you? 20 years ago, I went to the NFL draft. Gosh, I don't even know what year it was. It was in Madison Square Garden, and it was the most boring event. It was so disappointing. And now I'm watching it on TV. There's, 20,000 people partying during this event. I mean, they've done an incredible job of making the live draft event something really special to go to. I might go to it in DC. Let's go. Let's get our tickets now.
So do you think, does any of this happen without Jaden Daniels? The Washington?
Really?
New ownership.
But Jaden Daniels is you have one half decent season. Let's say that they made the playoffs, obviously, with a dynamic quarterback, and now it's Katie bar the door. They're going to get all this done.
We avoid politics like the plague, but I also think it's a desire by the current administration to make DC the shining light, the shining city on the hill. I think DC has so much potential for, not to sound crazy, but for every American to be I go to the museums, I visit what government buildings I'm allowed to, I hang out at the mall. It's got such potential, and I hope that DC becomes something that is a a hot spot for people to go to and just become something everybody becomes really, really proud of.
Well, and I think that's true. Let's not forget, and there are stats about this, is that DC, you forget, even though it's not as big as some of the other major cities in the U.S., it's the 7th largest metro area in the country. It is a big city, right? And if you count it with Baltimore, you got 9.5 million people living between two cities. There's a lot going on, and people do desire to go to Washington for the tourism things, right? It's a great city to visit. So, that's great. So.
On the other end of the sports spectrum, they just a couple weeks ago had the World Gurning Championship. Do you guys know what that is? Gurning.
Why would you say that's on the other end? I'm a big Gurning fan. Why would you say that's on the other end of the spectrum?
Okay, so for those of you who don't know what Gurning is, it's basically a world competition. Championship was a world competition for making funny faces using your lips and eyes and to make the funniest looking faces.
Where is it held? Where is this held?
It's held in Crab Fair, UK, and they've had this championship since 1852. I would highly encourage somebody to just Google it, World Gurning, and you'll see these faces. They're weird. It is freaky.
No, to me, it's the face to try to describe it. When you sent it out and I looked at it, it's when you basically take your lower chin or whatever and bring it up over your lips, over your upper lip. It's like bringing your chin up and forward, Oh, look at Mr. Fun doing it. I wish I could. But
there's also like things like with your mouth full of air. Your eyes doing certain things too, are incorporated into it.
Wait, you show the winner shows a lot of teeth, right?
I don't know. It's like his face is sunken in, the winner. That's the thing that's weird looking to me. So, we will tell everybody to put Gurning, search it online right here.
Right.
I'm not sure I'd call it a sport, by the way, Lucky. I think more of a competition might be a fair sentiment, unless you think they're training for it.
Maybe. I don't know. But here's the thing. We have these conversations about our podcast. Like, okay, we're in year 2-ish and whatever. And are we going to continue? How long are we going to continue to do this? They've done this weird competition since 1852. So I think I think it gives us some hope that we're going to be doing this for a long period of time.
Do you know, I heard the person who shows off the most teeth is awarded a plaque.
Very good.
And my last little sports thing is, and again, the House settlement for all the NCAA stuff is still not approved by the judge. But about a week or so ago, some news got made. A 32-year-old woman who still has, I think, 1 year of eligibility left in women's basketball entered the transfer portal. She wants to come back and play. I'm like, come on.
Wow.
It's the absurdity every week. There's like silly things that just doesn't make sense.
Hey, here's things that I'm looking for after the NFL draft, because I know you guys are interested. I am watching the 437-pound, 6'6" defensive lineman who was drafted by Tampa Bay out of Florida. That's 437 pounds, defensive lineman. I'm also watching, signed as a free agent, there was a 6'9" basketball player who is played high school football and then played his senior year as a tight end. Forgive me, I don't remember the college, but he is he's trying out for to convert to a 6'9" tight end. And they say he's got the athleticism to do it. And then I'm also interested to see if Taylor's brother, Sean Taylor's brother, is a non-drafted, undrafted free agent who's trying out for the Redskins. So that's a good story there. So it just some of the people I'm watching for to see if they make NFL teams and have an impact.
So I have just a few sports things from my standpoint. A couple. The Kentucky Derby happened last weekend, right? Sovereignty won. Sovereignty. I can barely say the word. Won. Not going to the Preakness.
How come?
It's I don't know.
Wear and tear. Like they don't want to. They just don't want to run the horse. They're saying that it's not. They don't have enough time for the horse to recover because it's what is it, 2 weeks later kind of thing.
Yeah,
So-
but it's been that way forever. But it's not a very good thing for the Preakness. Obviously, it makes it even less. And then they changed the infield rules. I think there's
Yep.
something that you can't have as much partying this year in the infield. Is that did I read
That's
that?
been last year, I think.
Okay.
You can't bring your own beer or something.
That's been a
something.
long time. You
Yeah.
haven't been able to
but-
bring your own stuff in for a long time, and they have buy a
yeah.
cup.
So anyway, the Preakness is taking it on the chin, and then they're moving it to Laurel next year. We think as they redo Pimlico Racetrack. But I guess the larger question is, does anybody really care about the Triple Crown anymore? The Kentucky Derby is a different thing. Is it just that you win the Derby? It's the big party. Does anybody beyond that really care?
It makes the Preakness and the Belmont the third makes it that much more watchable. I think if there's the watchability of those two events goes down if there's
I understand that, but if let's say for the sake of argument, the Triple Crown goes away as a entity, meaning there's no more Preakness or Belmont. Does it diminish the Kentucky Derby?
I don't think so.
This is to me. This is pardon the pun, horseshit. You have a horse. It's a racehorse. That horse is bred to race, and he wins the Kentucky Derby. And you're like, yeah, but we're not gonna enter him into. I don't mean to be insensitive, but that.
No, but you're right. I think the conspiracy theorists would say that there's performance enhancing stuff in the horse world, and you just worry about what they're doing with some of these horses.
Well,
right.
but here's the thing. Okay, so some of these. There was a horse that was in the Kentucky Derby that I think was somebody paid like a small amount of money for, like $50,000 or something like that. And then there are other horses at the other end of the spectrum that were purchased for multiple millions of dollars. There is a nice purse for winning the Kentucky Derby. It's a couple $1,000,000 or whatever to the owner. But the big money is breeding these horses. So when you have a Kentucky Derby winner, you basically have a new cash channel with breeding your horse, because everybody wants to have that, part of that, part of those genes as part of the next generation of horses coming. So that's where the big money is. So they'd much rather not race in another race and just keep the horse preserves to go breed them.
So do you think the horse, if he has a poor performance in the Preakness, they lose value on his breeding?
No,
There's
I think it's more of a health thing. It's more of a health thing. They don't want to risk running the horse again.
Yeah, but breeding, he just has to, breed.
They break a leg. They're basically.
I think
breaking the leg would be a problem.
It's breaking. Yeah, because then it's done. Yeah, that unfortunately that horse is going to be put down. So
this is like horses this is like guys that don't want to play in bowl games.
Exactly.
They're holding out the horse.
Yeah.
So I read Lucky mentioned NIL and the House settlement, or not NIL, but the settlement in college. I read this interesting article in the Wall Street Journal this week, which this whole notion that high schoolers being recruited but not for sports. It was for trade schools. So they are shop programs at your local high school are being sponsored in a lot of cases by companies, and then companies are using them as training ground. So when they graduate high school, so a junior in high school, they were talking about a kid in Philadelphia, already has a $75,000 a year job waiting for him when he graduates high school at 18.
I love that.
And there's 50,000. It's not unusual to have this. And I think those economics are so good and so tempting for a parent to say, why would I send my kid for $75,000 a year to college? And when he can earn, in this case, $75,000 a year, that's a $150,000 swing per year. You can think over 4 years, that kid can make $300,000 versus being $300,000 the other way.
Yeah,
the economics are so good in this regard, and I'm actually pleased to read it.
A brave generation of parents to buck the trend and say, "Hey, my kid's not going to college, but he's going to be."
But I think you're starting to see the tip of the iceberg. Like you sent the note that Maryland's enrollment is down.
Yeah, there's
something larger at play. That I think enrollments are starting to probably right on the edge.
Yeah, well, the cost benefit of going to college, especially if you're getting a more generic degree, is just not there these days. The costs keep going up with college, and I think again we don't want to talk politics, but I think it's fair to challenge universities to say, hey, you need to be training these kids in the things that make sense, that they're going to get good jobs and make good because kids are taking debt. They're getting student loans, federally funded student loans or whatever that, and they're walking out with have a hard time getting jobs, and they have all this debt. It just is not economically sound principles for our country. So
the last week, you guys, the folks who know me know my kids go to a super, I guess, academically competitive high school in Maryland, which, by the way, is the one that was in the news for not being able to opt out of certain classes. Anyway, they have their college day where every kid is, in my opinion, pressured to sport a sweatshirt or T-shirt with the name of the college they're going to. And while I'm proud that my kids have worn these T-shirts in the past, I can't help but think, what about the kid who doesn't want to go to college, or the kid that is undecided or taking a gap year or whatever it is, or what about the kid who wants to join the Marine Corps?
Right.
Those kids are, I can't imagine what's going through their head and the pressure they're feeling to not have a T-shirt on. I suspect half of them skip school that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, that's I think I know we've talked about it personally before, but maybe not on the podcast. The whole notion that community colleges in areas like Washington and other kind of what you would say are intellectual cities, if you will, are looked down upon. Yeah. They're a great solution for a lot of kids. I mean, my kids have been my one daughter has benefited from community college. I think Mr. Fun, one of yours has as well.
Best thing that happened.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that gets kind of tarnished in all this. But going back to your point, Lucky, I think the problem for me with universities is that, there's loan forgiveness, forbearance, whatever you want to call it, and that's why costs continue to go up because the schools aren't on the hook for any of it.
Yep.
And that's wrong. It is wrong, and I feel very strongly about that. My one political comment is, as somebody that paid for both my children's education, when I hear about giving up, these student loans, for giving them, it really pisses me off.
Yeah,
I think it's something that I worked hard to do, and I know not everybody's in the same situation, but that's a decision I made, and I don't see how I should be paying the price for it. But
why isn't there an answer? Why isn't there people who are somehow funding free college, cheaper college that still provides a great degree? Am I mistaken that Georgia Tech is free for Georgia residents?
They have a lot of the schools have programs for in-state kids.
Scholarships.
Scholarships who have certain grades or whatever. So that's out there. Maryland.
I mean, why isn't there an alternative? Why isn't due to competition? Why can't a good business person open up a school that's less expensive and provide an equal education? Does the tuition you're paying equal the education? I don't think so.
Well, I think you can do it. The school has to be accredited, right? It has to be accredited either by I'm assuming by the states, not necessarily federally at that point. But I think people have done that. There are colleges like that. Some of them are for profit, candidly, but others are, which is, I know it's conservative leading. Prager University, which is one that he set up, right? I think that gentleman started it on his own. But there's others that do it. But it's a fair point for sure. So,
I just had a big awakening.
What's that?
The compelling discussion that we just had for the last 28 minutes probably is going to lead us to be nominated for the new Golden Globes category.
What is that?
They have a new Golden Globes has a new category for podcasts. So
really?
They're in 2026. They're going to give awards for the extraordinary and diverse talents in podcasting. So I think we're in the running now for a nomination.
Well, I consider both of you guys to be extraordinary.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, well, okay. So this gives an opportunity to award Rogan, call her daddy. I mean, it's what is it? Is that what this is going to be ultimately? They're going to award those podcasts, which they're significant, right, in their influence.
Coffee and football.
That's right.
100%. Hey, did you hear Robert P. committed to college?
No.
Big shout out to Robert P. He's taking his podcast talents to Catholic University next year.
Oh, good for him.
Good for him. So, well, excellent. So, like we can, we're going to shoot for the stars. We should put our name in. It's Golden Globes, right? That's the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, right?
Yeah.
So we got to start talking to some international folks.
Or maybe we need a Spanish translation of Talk About each week and to go with it.
Do it. I'm sure we can do it. I'm sure it exists.
I'll do it. I'll learn Spanish.
That's funny.
But how do you say podcast in German?
Just add an O to the end. It's Podcasto.
Podcast.
He say he was talking about German. I wouldn't know. I don't speak German. I wouldn't know. Yeah. 9. I don't know. So that's good. So, Lucky, I heard
Wait, do you know the square root of 81?
It's German. 9. Okay. It makes you laugh every time. Every time. So, Lucky, you sent us a photo of a giant credit card statement.
Yeah. So
what is that all about? I've had one of those, which is scary, which means there's so many pages you can't fold it.
That's
in
right.
some cases.
That's right. Yeah. So we sent our lovely middle daughter away to study abroad in Barcelona for this past semester. And as we send her away, of course, she's going to be living there. And so we gave her an allowance for incidentals, food, whatever. And with that amount also came, you have the credit card, you can, whatever you charge for yourself, you'll have to reimburse us, of course. But she had carte blanche of the credit card. Well, she finished her last month in Europe traveling around after school ended, and with her arrival home came a credit card bill was so thick it did not fit into the folded envelope. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So she's working.
So how does that work? What's the difference between, if you give an allowance, which I think we've all done, generally speaking,
yeah,
which is, I don't know, let's call it $1,000, I don't know, whatever, over some period of time. But when you throw a credit card on top of it, isn't the allowance out the window at that point?
Well, that's the thing. Like we all sat as a family as we were sending her away, and we were trying to figure out how the logistics would work with her using the credit card and her allowance. And somehow somebody, I'm going to give the credit to my wife, gave her you can use the credit card.
Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, but you have to pay the remainder back. So, of course, there's no governor limit on that. So that's how it worked. But, and unfortunately, my middle daughter, who will contemplate going to study abroad, she's going to suffer by the new rules that get implemented as a result of my middle daughter.
What is the most extravagant item on the credit card? Just out of curiosity.
The thing is, they're all in Spanish. I can't even see what she's buying. They're all seriously, and it's 7 pages of Spanish things, and in other parts of the Europe as well. So
now, is she home?
She's home.
She's home. So, and again, going back to the beginning of the podcast, you're going to pay for dinner tonight. Why didn't she put it on the credit card?
Yeah,
I'm sure she will. They all have credit cards.
Why don't you go to a nice Spanish restaurant?
She's already done that. She's maxed out the Spanish. But anyway, so just lesson learned. If you're sending a child away to study abroad, think about a new model, because that model did not work.
Yesterday, I figured out that my daughter, who wants to be a physical therapist, in order to take the classes that she wants to take, she is a bit sad that she can't travel abroad. So she's not going to travel abroad. And then she tells me, but the degree I want in physical therapy is now a 3-year degree of post-grad college. So somehow I come out of the short end. I'd much rather just send her to college.
Send her away.
So, anyway, we'll figure that out.
All right. Well, we're getting close to the home stretch here, Mr. Fun. Do we have any jokes?
Yeah. I'm not sure this is risque, and I'm not even sure it's funny. But there's a couple, right? And they're dating, and they want to go away for a romantic bed and breakfast trip. And so they check into this beautiful old building, and they're sort of surprised and delighted all at the same time that there's no televisions, no radios. There's nice fireplace downstairs. They drink coffee and share wine and great conversation and lots of intimacy. And they're lying in bed, and there's a one of those armoires, or however you say it, with all these handmade blankets in it, and the guy rolls over and he says, I'm a little cold. Is there any way you can get one of those quilts out of the cabinet? And the girl says, hey, listen, because we're having such a great time, why don't we pretend we're married for the rest of the trip? And he goes, wow, all right, that sounds great. Let's pretend we're married. Is there any way you can grab me the quilt? And she goes, grab your own fucking quilt, you lazy bastard.
Very good.
Yikes.
Lucky, we had some great feedback. I released episode 2, and we had some people share their first jobs of a similar mind of Mr. Fun and the popcorn, reselling the containers of popcorn. One will remain nameless, would take the difference on selling something at a at a car wash. Reselling a 75-cent car wash for $5, I believe, is the story, or something like that. So I think that's people listen to it and have their own stories, and hot buttered Mr. Fun will go down in history.
I was never really called Hot Buttered Bob.
What are you talking about? We call you that all the time now.
That's what do they call it? The urban legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's one thing to strip down naked and run for the manager of the thing. There's another thing being called Hot Buttered Bob.
Mr. Fun, you've been called. I mean, could you imagine if this podcast was Talk About with Biff, Lucky, and Glob? Do you think that would go over well?
Yeah. Or
my original fraternity nickname was Glob. Everybody knows that now. Thank you.
But good. So, anyways, how do they get hold of us, Luck?
Yeah, keep it coming. Talk about 2023 at gmail.com. Hopefully people are picking up the podcast and all the different services, subscribing. But the email, please, we love the feedback. We get a lot of it each week, and it gives us ideas of some things to talk about. So please keep it coming.
We didn't say where JK was this week, but he was in Nashville, I know, for part of the week. He had a big tour there, visiting some friends and other things. But he got a new truck. We have seen the rig. It was impressive, huge on the inside. With the sleeping compartment and all that stuff. Very luxurious. He's riding in style. So JK, thanks for sharing that. So good, Mr. Fun. Any other final words from your standpoint?
Yeah, you know what? We talked about it before the podcast started, and if you have a great story, if you think you are funny and want to try out some of your comedic skills, if you want to join us as a guest on our podcast because you think you're interesting, reach out to us. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, on that note, I agree with Mr. Fun in that regard, and Lucky and asking for feedback. We'd love to have more people on the podcast, and we've got friends that we've had on in the past, but even if you have associates that you think would be interesting, just give us a shout. So with that, let me just call it a day. We will do it again next week. Our plan is to do it in person, so we're looking forward to seeing you guys in person. We've got the Lucky Open this week where I will see one, if not both of you in person, but definitely over the coming 7 days. So until then, let me just say goodbye.
Green river laid out by my front door, and I'm miles and miles from the nearest store. Pot full of crabs looking fat and sweet, kettle of oysters at my feet, living on Chesapeake time. Take it slow or take it easy, both good friends of mine. Brother, I'm just starting to unwind, living on Chesapeake time. And a plain old tee, haven't had a shave in a day or 3. Breeze is blowing, might take a sail, just to have a few more tales to tell. Living on Chesapeake time. Take it slow, take it easy, both good friends of mine. Brother, I'm just starting to unwind, living on mind. Know that I must start to make a plan. But if I somehow never find the time, know that we will be just fine. Know that she will understand. Come floating by my dock. By morning my head's gonna rock. Sleeping late, now I will be forgiven. When you live in the land of pleasant living. Living on Chesapeake time. Take it slow, take it easy. Both good friends of mine. Brother, I'm just starting to unwind. Living on Chesapeake time. Living on Chesapeake time. Take it slow, take